Good evening, everyone, and welcome. May we have roll call, please?
Vaughn,
Aye. Providing it's Vaughn, not Con.
You say Vaughn or
I
Con's
said
here?
Vaughn. I
That's
can't
right.
hear Tom. Con,
Here.
Shoemaker,
Here.
Hofstadter,
Here.
Poland,
Here.
Coffee,
Here.
May we have a motion to excuse Mr. Hines from tonight's meeting?
So move, Poland.
Second, Hoffy.
Poland,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Con,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Thank you. May we have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes?
So moved, Hofstadter.
I'll second Shoemaker.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Con,
Aye.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
The only correction is it says in the bottom of the first page, just above the clerk treasurer, Schaefer's name, it says informed counsel of leak pickup. It should be leaf. I'm sure we all know what that is, but
okay,
just a minor typo.
okay.
I
Thank
wanted
you.
to get credit for noticing that more than anything else.
Good catch. We'll make those changes.
May we have a motion to approve?
I so move, Hoffy.
Second, Poland.
Coffee,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Con,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Thank you. Bill Resolution 2020-29. Are there any questions? On the bill this evening? May we have a motion to pay?
I make a motion to pay Con.
Second, Vaughn.
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Thank you. Chief?
I have nothing, thank you.
Nate?
Everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
One second. Sorry, I was getting some feedback from the live stream. First item I have, design review board and planning and zoning will meet the 4th. We have a facade improvement for design review board to review over at the Eagles. It's the trustee's office between the two main buildings. They want to bring that front wall out flush with the other two faces. And then the planning and zoning will review a change of zoning district request for two parcels kind of behind Jitters between South Washington and County Road 58. The proposal is from the McDowells, Kurt McDowell and his daughter Morgan, to rezone that to industrial to allow for mining. They want to get the aggregate out of there, and then their ultimate plan is to change the zoning back to commercial to make them sellable lots for development. Sidewalk projects. Schaefer Johnson Lichtenwalder is still reviewing and working on the phase 1 plans. Mid-Ohio is in town now, so they'll be starting on our sidewalks here any time really. So you should have got a copy of the two proposals from Vasco for the tennis court. Was there any questions on that? I don't know that well, I guess we need some direction tonight, but so there's two options. The first is to resurface it with an overlay. That one was $91,873, and you can read down through the specs of what they were going to do. The more permanent, or not permanent, but long-term option is $174,789, and that's where they'd come in and rebuild the entire asphalt surface. Both of the quotes include new equipment, markings, everything. You know, that's something we could play with if you wanted to, but they're in the business of installing these things. If we decide to go this route, I'd prefer that they install them. Is there any questions on that?
Did they give any information about life span of both of them?
Yeah, when we met initially on site, he told us that it's very similar to a road. Not as far as lifespan, but a resurfacing will buy you, he thought, 10 to 15 years is what they kind of assume. Whereas the reconstruction would be more of a 25 to 30 year fix.
My opinion is it's more than doubling the lifespan for $20,000. It's really worth it to just do the best thing that we can do for that surface, I believe.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just from the standpoint that when you look at a roadway as well, if you mill off the top 2 inches, we'll say, but there's deeper issues, those issues always come back up. If you eliminate all of it and do full depth, then you eliminate those issues. In theory, now things always change, things always happen. But
So Nate, are you saying with lower estimate that it's 15 years?
no, I'd lean towards doing the full restoration.
Yeah, what I was asking is with the lowest estimate, is the life expectancy 10 to 15 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm getting some weird feedback. Is anybody else?
Yes.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a duck quacking.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. All right.
Can I follow up on the old airport park issue? I guess what we're talking about, the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. Is it the plan to get estimates eventually for the playground and then get some direction from village council on what course we want to take on both of those projects? That's where the cost is ultimately going to be. And then put it all together at some point. And then are we going to put that to, I guess, the village for feedback? Are we going to make that decision? Are we going to try to get individual donations, corporate donations, nonprofit donations, things of that nature, grant? Has there been any, I guess I'm curious on feedback from village council.
I would be very much interested in soliciting donations because this is a very expensive project for a small audience that is going to be using it. I would be in favor of seeing what kind of donations people would be interested in making. We had a lot of interest from the pickleball community, so let's see if they are willing to donate some money towards that project.
I agree with that, Brad. I guess I was just wondering what the mindset was of everybody else, if that was, the decision that we eventually want to kind of look into.
Brad, I thought you were specifically looking into the playground equipment when you first started your conversation.
I was looking at the pickleball, tennis, and basketball court issue that was presented by Nate with the two estimates. And then in addition to that, I know that Kelly is chairing the recreational component of this, and trying to get, I think, more information, with the swings and that sort of thing. Because there's going to be an expense there if we decide to go that route. And then I know that the one gentleman indicated that he was willing to do a lot of the roof work at little to or no cost. And then the baseball field, it sounded like that was just a lot of sweat equity that we needed to restore that back to, a presentable, playable ball field.
Wasn't Nate looking into some grant as a possibility?
Yeah, we previously used NatureWorks grant funds for Clay Street. I'd be pretty confident we could get some money from them. It's typically typically the trail is about the only entity in the county that applies for it, and us. We've used it a few times. So, but it's not a huge pool of money, would be my only caveat to all that. I think when we did Clay Street, oh, Karen, if you remember, I'm thinking somewhere around 50,000 maybe is what we had available.
I'm thinking too, like 47, I think, if
Yeah.
I remember right.
Okay, so let me just weigh in here. Brad, I am the park chair.
Right.
Okay, so at our park committee, we all decided that we were going to do this in park project was going to be the tennis pickleball court. So that is what we need to focus on first. Now we can do the softball field probably in the spring, because Nate said we can again do that in-house. That's not a problem.
Right.
We can also talk to that gentleman about what he's going to charge for materials, because you're right. He suggested that he would be willing to donate his time to do that. So I guess what we're focusing on right now is the tennis pickleball court, which is why Nate got the estimates for us. That's going to be phase 1. And then phase 2 is where we'll start talking about the playground equipment and that type of thing.
Okay. When would phase 2 kick in? Is there a projected timeline on that? Or is there anything wrong with putting the two all together?
Well, I think putting the two together, funding is going to be an issue. If we focus on phase 1, we're looking right now at $124,000 just for the tennis and pickleball courts. So I think with the budget coming up in November, that is something that we're going to have to discuss within the realm of the budget and see what is available in the budget to put towards that, whether we need to, go to the community with help for phase 1, or if we can cover that with tax dollars and then maybe go to the community with help for phase 2 with the playground equipment. I feel like we need to talk about that within the realm of the budget in November. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any advantage to, I guess, compiling everything at once and just throwing it out there to the community and saying, this is the vision of what we think that the old airport park could look like, and reach out for donations at that time. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud, I guess.
Yeah, I think that is possible for us to look at and think about. We're going to need to get some people down here with you know, we have gone and looked at different places, playground equipment, get some people here with some estimates for that. You know, if we're going to lump it all into one large project and then put it out for everyone, that's going to take a little bit of time. So if that's how council wants to proceed, that's fine. We just thought doing it in phases would be more economical and easier to accomplish.
Which I would have to agree with that, Brad. I see what you're saying. But I mean, when we're looking at $124,000 just to redo the tennis and basketball and pickleball courts, you start throwing in playground equipment, which is not cheap. I mean,
Right.
how much was that piece of playground equipment we put at Clay Street?
For some reason, 18 to 20,000
Yeah.
sticks in my mind.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just for one piece of playground equipment. You could easily rack up 50,000 plus, depending on what you wanted to do. And I think that would put our budget down there way out of whack. We still need to proceed on with doing other infrastructure work. We didn't do any street paving this year. We're doing limited sidewalk projects this year. So I think we need to, you know, look at bringing that stuff back for next year. We also need to put money into our parks, no doubt about it. And I think $124,000 to start with this coming year is a pretty substantial investment right out of the gate. That's my opinion.
Not to muddy the waters any further, but I'll just throw it out so you're aware. I just looked up the Nature Works funding due to current situation. It's postponed until June 1 of 2021. So I don't know if you were anticipating applying. I would assume we'd want to apply for help with the pickleball or tennis court. You know, it's something we could apply for,
Right.
something every year if we do this in phases, but it's going to be delayed next year, just so you're aware of that. And it's a 75% match, or I'm sorry, 25% match, 75% reimbursable.
And when would be the date of dispersing that money based on that timeline? Would it be the beginning of 2022?
I'm betting it probably would be.
Okay.
I don't have that right in front of me here, but that's probably a pretty safe bet.
I can throw my 2 cents worth in here. Regardless of whether you want to go phase 1, phase 2, need some direction soon, because appropriations, I need to get probably the preliminary draft to you by next meeting, with all the numbers we're looking at. So I don't know what your thoughts are, but we're gonna need some direction.
Yes.
It's not something that we can wait. I mean, we can wait until next year and not put anything in there. And then you'll just simply have to do supplemental appropriations next year. So whichever route you want to go.
I guess I'd like to see us make a commitment.
Jeff, I have heard some comments that paving needs to be done again, not just strictly all the parks. So the thought.
I guess I'm of the opinion that we can put it in as a potential and just see how the numbers look. And again, things get scratched out of the appropriations every year when we go through.
Well, that's usually the budget, Brent.
Okay, sorry.
The appropriations are a little more fine tuned than the budget.
I would
Faith-
like to see us
Oh,
put some money towards this project. I don't think it's good for us to not project for the future.
I think we ought to commit to phase 1 and do the tennis courts, make a commitment. And then if we want to solicit for money and ourselves to,
You were all broken up. I couldn't get most of that.
He said he feels we should commit to phase one of the project and then progress as funds allow. Is that the gist of it, Tom?
Yeah, and if we want to look at soliciting for money, we do that after we've committed to the
Mhm.
to improving the park.
So Tom, what kind of a percentage of the total are you looking for us to commit?
I'm looking at us doing the 124,000 for the pickleball court to start with.
I agree with that. I don't think that we can solicit for private donations if we're not willing to give the donations people have already given out of their pocket for tax dollars.
One suggestion, I know Nate and I have talked, I don't have a problem if that's what you want to do, is put in money in the appropriations for the phase one. But to my understanding, when Nate and I talked, those buildings down there are gonna need work next year, or they're not gonna be, there's gonna be a lot more involved. Am I correct, Nate? Especially-
Yeah, the roof specifically.
So
need
if
to
you
get
want to
that.
salvage those, we need to do something.
And Pat was trying to get in contact with Mr. Overman. We both feel that what we had planned to spend this year would still cover what he's talking about doing. I don't think it's a huge investment, but it's something we're gonna have to do sooner than later.
So you think the money we appropriated this year would cover the roofs?
I think so, yeah. Unless, well, building materials are a little bit crazy right now, if we can even get them, so.
But that,
Sorry, I was
Those,
just gonna say, I've been hearing 30-some% increases on most building material.
I've heard up to 55% for some.
And what is the argument again for not asking for donations? I'm not following that.
Go ahead.
I guess I'd like to see the village make a commitment for the project before we go out soliciting for donations. People have already, through taxes have already paid money to the village. Let us be good stewards to lead the way by doing the initial part of this project.
And I don't think there would be anything wrong if somebody came in midstream and specifically wanted to donate to the tennis courts or whatever. That would just be money. Well, the timing would be problematic. Typically with donations, they can't be spent the same year, but that's money that could be used in essence towards the project. I mean, we could make it work.
and just so you know, the money that we did have appropriated for the roofs for this year will need reappropriated when we do the 2021 appropriations, just so you're aware of that.
Nate, do you think there would be any chance of the guy doing the roofs down there to have time yet to do it this year?
I don't know. Like I said, Pat was trying to get a hold of. I haven't heard if he did yet or not.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can try and get a hold of him within the next 2 weeks before the next council meeting, so we have an idea of direction for that.
But Karen, I think Karen needs guidance tonight. I believe what I'm hearing is reappropriate the funds for the roofs again, but also put in additional 124,000 for the resurfacing project of the tennis court for next year's budget. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, and that's what I'm trying to do, is get numbers in order, because last year, I believe it was mentioned that we should technically have 3 readings of the appropriations. So if we want to continue that, I've got to have final numbers later than the last meeting in November.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is I want to have a pretty good draft next meeting. So if there's any changes or questions, we can have that done before the first reading, the last meeting in November, because it was stated that we want 3 readings of it. So if
I
you
agree. I think that'll be
that.
great.
choose not to do that, that's fine, but you're putting me on a deadline here.
So basically, I say go ahead and budget the 124,000 in there for next year and reappropriate the money for the roofs. And then, of course, the other projects we've talked about, street paving, sidewalks, and whatever else. So,
Okay,
Okay, the next item, just obviously we started leaf collection today. So far, so good. Day 1's in the books. Then the last item I have is the street department position, the vacancy. We'd like to go ahead and proceed with Josiah Candle at that entry level position. He's been working with us through the workforce initiative program through the county. Good worker. So he's passed all the preliminary screening. Everything's good to go. So we'd like to go ahead and proceed with that.
I'll make a motion to accept Josiah Candle.
I'll second that. Hofstadter.
Olin,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Khan,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hoffy.
Aye.
I believe that's all I had tonight. Thank you.
thank you. Karen?
I just wanted to let council know that our janitorial service, which was Jackie's cleaning service, is terminating their contract at the end of October. She's kind of scaling down her business. We have talked with one of her employees, and she would be willing to come in and do our janitorial service for us, just individually. We would do a independent contract form with her. We were paying Jackie's $90 per week, and we can get, her name is Cheryl McCluggage, and we can get her in for $75 a week, and we supply the cleaning supplies. So I want to see what council's thought was on that.
I have no issue with that. It's someone who knows the job already. That's a benefit.
I agree.
Okay, if council chooses, we'll need a motion and second to approve her.
I will make a motion to approve her at that price. Hoffy.
Second, Poland.
Hoffy,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Khan,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we'll have a third reading of resolution 2020-27 by title only. A resolution annexing 1.315 acres to the village of Millersburg. Are there any questions? If not, may we have a motion to pass?
I so move, Hoffy.
Second, Hofstadter.
Coffee,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Poland,
aye,
Khan,
Aye.
Thank you. Third reading of ordinance 2020-102 by title only. An ordinance amending zoning map, zone territory of the village of Millersburg. Are there any questions? May we have a motion to pass?
I so move, Shoemaker.
Second,
second,
who's second?
I did, Tom.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Poland,
aye,
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Khan,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Thank you. Any committee reports? Old business? New business?
I want to throw out something about us looking into purchasing the senior center for a lot of room. Parking would be great. So I'm throwing it out, see what people think. No thoughts?
I
is
guess
that
when-
still going for auction? Do you
It's a
know?
lot to absorb.
I don't know if it was going to go up for auction, but I know
Yeah.
they're going to get rid of it so they can purchase the building up in Holmesville.
Right, I think things are kind of on hold at the moment, the last I heard.
Right.
My first question is how would we finance this purchase?
I don't know, could it be by bonds?
Could be, but that takes it takes a law firm that specializes in bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Honest with you, I'm not sure how all that transpires. I've never done one. I just know you have to have a law firm that specializes in that.
Bonds.
What's the building appraised at? Bob, do you have any idea, or does
I
anybody?
think it was around $1 million, the
Oh,
last
wow.
I heard.
Hmm.
But I mean, there's no mortgage on it. So I mean, I don't know if they would want to dump it. It was just a thought. I mean, more regulations and things that are, required of us for future growth. A lot of things could be used, done at that building. So it's just a thought.
I actually think it's a pretty good thought, Bob. I mean, it wouldn't need as much work as the building that we have currently.
Right.
I mean,
Some
it's always
pickleball
good to
courts.
have ideas.
Mayor and Nate, you're pretty quiet.
I'm not saying we couldn't use the space. What I'm looking at is, first of all, the purchase price. The second thing is the renovation cost that would go into converting that building into offices, council chambers, and everything else that we would need. I think we look at a pretty substantial price tag when it was all said and done. Of course, I don't know what that price tag would be. I just think it'd be very high. I mean, we don't know. I mean, if it did go to auction, there's a lot of interest. It could easily fetch $1 million. We don't know.
I mean, to me, it would be cheaper than, eventually looking to build a building.
My thought, I'm trying to process it a little bit. I hadn't thought about it at all, to be quite honest with you. It's an interesting thought, but we're definitely hurting for room here. I mean, I
right.
don't think our council chambers, assuming we're at some point in time going to get back to public open meetings, the way they're set, our council chambers set up has never seemed right to me. It's too cramped. So I think there'd be a lot of positives at that location.
Yeah, as council members, we should, the visitors or whatever we should be facing them, not the way it is now.
That is correct. I agree with that.
And this would be down the road if you chose to do something like that before. I think you should do some research on just what the overhead of that building is, gas, electric, insurance, that type of thing. Because I'm sure it's going to be a lot more than what we're paying right now. So
Yeah,
just throwing
Yeah,
that.
a bigger building is always going to have more costs, but I also feel like we need to look at the future. We need to look into the future. The current building we have is not going to last us.
I agree.
If we're not planning for the future, then we are doing a grave disservice to the people of our community.
Would you be thinking of maintaining some office space there? Our generators there, a lot of the power for the infrastructure downtown is there. I think there's a lot of thought that needs to go into it.
But I guess my first thought is if we were to relocate I think we relocate the general offices, and that would maintain as our PD, just for the fact of all the infrastructure is already in place there. And it would give them room to expand, of course, in the future. But I think trying to relocate that department itself would just be very difficult. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, Tom, or anyone else.
Now, there'd be a lot of stuff that have to move and, leads and things like that. I guess my thinking is I think about Worcester moving from the Justice Center to the north end, and yeah, they have a great building, but I like the idea of being more downtown. No way, shape, or form, if somebody handed us a new building up, would I say no, we wouldn't take it, but just some of my thoughts. And it is, we control the lights for funeral escorts or emergency runs down here too. So all that stuff would have to be transported to wherever we would go.
It is an interesting thought. I guess it would be interesting to at least do a little research, see what the operating cost alone would be, and tour the facility once and just see what potentially we would be looking at for renovation type costs, or what a renovation would be in general, period. It'd be a starting point.
sure enough.
Well, and I guess we need to make sure that they're actually going to be moving.
That's true too.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet.
It's very true. Any other new business? Executive session. Nate, do we have any comments or questions?
We do not.
Okay. There's nothing else. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Poland.
Second, Hofstadter.
Olin,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Bond,
Aye.
Khan,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee.
I
There's nothing else. Do we have a motion for adjournment? Everyone have a wonderful evening.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.